Stevie R. Pearce from Stevie R. Pearce and the Hooligans. How are you?
Very well, considering.
Considering we've been locked down for how many weeks? Have you lost count? I know I have.
I haven't been keeping track. You know, life's not really been much different. I work on my own, and I get to go to work, come back, see no one.
Sounds very lonesome.
Oh, I'm very lonely.
Now, the first question I've got for you is, what does the R stand for? Now, I've written down a range of possible answers. It could be rock, it could be rampage, raucous, and rebel. Now, I'll be very, very disappointed if it's not one of them.
Some of my peers have come up with, have tried to guess what that is. Some of them are probably a little bit too horrible to say on that.
I can't think of anything horrible that begins with an R.
Oh, I can.
Can you?
I can, yeah. I'm not going to say it. It actually is, the R is after my father, Ronnie.
Oh,
That's
right.
my middle name. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny McCormack for a long time has always called me Stevie Ray Pearce because he thinks I'm something to do with Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that's why I've done it. But
and you've not corrected him on that.
well, what's the point? He wouldn't listen anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking if it wasn't any of those four names, I was thinking it could be Rodney or Royston.
Royston. That'd be good. No, I think they're all as bad as each other, to be fair.
I think you're okay with Ronnie. You probably got the best pick there, I reckon.
Yeah, not bad.
Now, you are the self-proclaimed king of winging it.
Yeah.
So would you like to explain that to everybody watching?
Well, everybody needs a title.
Yeah.
It more refers to I tend to just not have much of a plan and just see what happens and go, fuck it, we'll wing it.
That's worked pretty well for you though, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's why I'm the king of winging it.
Yeah.
I think when you don't have a set goal or an objective and you just go, fuck it, I'll just do what's ever in front of me, good stuff happens, you know.
Not always. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
No, I wouldn't. It takes a while for it to work properly.
Yeah, bit of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, till you get the full flow, and yeah, I got it. Well, now the last time I saw you was, I think you said last year. I think it was the year before, but I can't actually remember.
It was the year before.
It was the year before, yeah. It was with Jizzy Pearl's Love Hate, and you were touring around. It was the Songs and Stories tour.
Yes.
Which I remember incredibly well. And I think you must have heard those stories a million times. You could probably tell them all yourself now.
Do you know what? I think the first time, that one we did in Manchester, it was Gulliver's, wasn't it?
It was Gulliver's, yeah.
I think that was the first one we'd ever done. Or maybe we'd done one before. But I know he, I mean, I've heard them all a million times.
Yeah,
but
I bet.
they're still funny. But here comes the story again. But, I mean, it is weird, though, because he lived through that era. And he's there to tell those stories, and you can't quite believe somebody. It doesn't exist now, that kind of stuff, and to see him talk about that stuff, all is quite mind blowing, But I've heard it a lot.
I mean, one of the stories he told that I always remember, and I've told to other people now, so I hope it's true, was that he's the reason, Jizzy Pearl's the reason that they decided to put fencing around the Hollywood sign.
100%.
Tried to crucify himself on there.
That's right.
You better stop people from doing that.
They put motion sensors up there, and for a long time he wasn't allowed within 3 miles of the sign.
Oh, right.
And that stood, I think, all through the 90s. I may have that wrong, but people certainly after that couldn't go up there anymore. No. Not without a reason.
So we've got him to blame or to thank for that. So apart from you playing with this latest incarnation of Jizzy Pearl's Love Hate, you've done an awful lot of other things in your career. And for example, you're described as the original Hellraiser of the Black Bullets, and you're also known for your work in Warrior Soul. So are there any other bands you've been associated with or
I was in Falling Red. So I when we started the Bullets, it was a completely different lineup from the one it ended up being at the end with Carl and Lance and Billy T and all those guys. We were 4 different guys that started that, and then the original lead singer moved to LA and married Corey Parks from Nashville Pussy, and never came back, so we never saw him again. That was good. And then after that, it kind of, the reasons for doing it weren't the same. So I left, and I kind of had enough of music, because we were right on the edge of record deals and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck this, I'm just going to do something else. And Dave Sanders from Falling Red called me and said that his guitar player, Jade Starr, was having a baby. Can you come to Europe with the White Trash Presidents? And I went and just did a 2 or 3 week tour with the White Trash Presidents, and I think the last Vegas through Europe. And I kind of fell in love with playing again. Stayed in Falling Red for about a year, and then I joined Thunderfuck and the Deadly Romantics. Are you familiar? Yeah. You should. I heralded as the UK's most offensive rock band.
Wow.
But Pearce was a friend of mine. Christian Kimmett played for him. Dave Sanders played. A lot of people have played for him over the years because he's a good guy. And they're the only 2. But I mean, I've stood in with Enough's Enough a couple of times, and I've not been in the band, but I've jammed with them, and I've toured with so many of those bands from that kind of era, or played shows with.
You played with pretty much all the glam rock legends, I believe.
Yeah, I've been on similar lineups, and I don't know any of them personally. I can't, claim to be great friends, but we've all played the same shows together. But that's just what happens when you join Love Hate, I suppose.
Yeah.
Can't really escape it.
So you've had quite a lot of success as well with your current band. You were described by the Hairy Bikers as the best band to come out of Basingstoke in a long time. And of course, they playlisted your song Bad Day on Planet Rock. So what was that like?
Well, they actually didn't say Basingstoke. Well, I had to change that, because when Cy King saw us playing at Trillions in Newcastle, he saw us and loved us. And he was like, I really want to play one of his songs. And we were like, this is great. I mean, out of all the people to walk in that night, it was him. And when he did the show and put the song out, he said, this is one of the greatest bands to come out of Newcastle in a long time, because he just presumed we were from Newcastle.
Right,
I'm not sure what gave it away, because I'm from the south,
Yeah.
And but when he did that and he put us on, it was great, and it got played a few times, and I still stay in touch with him now. But obviously they're not on the Planet Rock show anymore. But I really didn't have any preconceptions on what the Hooligans would do. I just wanted to play music and have fun and play some shows, and things sort of went, have gone well, but it's hard,
So I want to talk about your music. How would you describe your style?
Well, it's not safe rock. It's which can get in the way. It's somewhere in between hard rock. There's punk. There's metal. It's
all the good stuff. That's what it is.
Yeah,
all the good stuff.
Those are all my influences, and I'm just an amalgamation of those. Really, I can't do anything any other way. I mean, there's I don't know whether my albums tend to be quite eclectic.
Yeah,
they can be quite a mix of different styles, whereas you can listen to a lot of bands today and they manage to keep it all the same sound, which is great. I'm not able to do that, but I'll write about the things that I believe in, that I think are true. That if I get angry about something, I'll write about it. If I, and that can sometimes be quite hostile, or it can be whatever.
Well, your debut album was released late 2017, and then it was reissued via Cargo Records around March time 2018. So what was the reason for the reissue?
I was still in Warrior Soul, and John Dryland at Cargo was doing Corey's new Warrior Soul's new record, and I wasn't. I'd left after they'd started writing it, but I was still doing some live shows, if you like. And I'd given the album to John, and just said, "What do you think of this?" And he was like, "Oh, this is great. Let's reissue it and draw a line under what you've done, and let's do it again." And to his credit, they put in, him and Axel at Rock and Growl PR put a lot of effort into that re-release, and it did really well. And because I'd already bought it out and I had no expectations, anything that happened after that was a bonus. So it went far and wide, and it got so many good reviews. I was kind of like, oh, you know, because to me, we patched it together and we'd had trouble with the recording of it anyway. Yeah. And I was like, wow, it's good to see it's actually getting some praise after the fucking trouble it caused.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I didn't do too badly with this after all. Not too bad.
No, exactly, yeah.
But you're due to release a new album. I think the original date was around September this year. Is that still going ahead as scheduled? Because a lot of people have had to push back their release dates because of the virus, obviously. But
I you know, they're band. I mean, if you look at all, I mean, there's a lot of bands doing great things. The management companies, Massive Wagons, and all these types of bands. I think they just bought one out. I'm not sure, but they have to pick and choose when they bring it out because, you know, the virus. It doesn't really affect me. I'm not up that level of album sales and record sales, so I'm still sticking to the 24th of September because at that date I have shows start. Well, I have a tour booked, but I'm not going to go and announce it. Just now, certainly, maybe not for another month, because who knows what will happen. But my hope is that actually we might be right on the edge of places going, right, we can do this now, and we can do this safely, and I could be first through the door type thing. And I've got shows till December. So we're just waiting on it, but the album will come out, and I'm going to name that and announce that next month. I'm pretty proud of this one. It's definitely going to make an impact. It's definitely going to not get me played places. That's for sure. They ain't going to be putting that on the radio. But
is that something that you worry about, actually? That, you know, that you can't say that you have to make radio edits and you have to be wary of what you say in songs. Otherwise, you might not get radio airplay and that sort of thing. Is that something that concerns you?
No, I don't think about it.
Yeah, I think better not to.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get a play anywhere. So if you start messing about with your songs and your lyrics to just get it on the radio, that may or may not happen, and you've kind of shortcut yourself a bit, I think.
So I agree. I think you should be true to your lyrics and what you want to say and just put it out there as it is, I
mean, I can always take swear words out. I mean, we tried to rip it out on the radio stations, but because it's got like a minute-long keyboard organ intro to it, and, you know, it's got swearing in it, and it is what it is. People were one station said, "Oh, we were genuinely scared listening to that." Actually,
they don't get out enough.
Well, and we were saying last night, I was like, actually, I'd take that rather than them just saying it was shit. You know.
Yeah, that's a lot better for sure.
Yeah.
You've actually left your record label now, and you're doing everything yourself, aren't you? So
yeah.
When did all that come about, and how are you finding it?
Just a decision, because I mean it still costs money to be with a distributor or whatever. I mean, it was nothing personal with anybody. It's just with this lockdown, with this the way the world is going to go. I just felt it was best to be sort of in control of everything. I mean, we took care of I've written the record, planned all the recording, booked the tours myself, and we just kind of went, now I've got the lineup that I have, we just went, well, actually, we can, you know, Cargo got the record into the HMV stores, and it got it a lot further than I would have done. It still cost money for us to do that because of the CD, you know, duplication and that. And we just went, well, I'm not trying to be deluded on what my music can and can't do. I know people will listen to it, and I don't want to try and force it down people's throats, because I know it's good music and people will listen to it. I'll put it next to anybody's. So I just thought, well, we'll do this ourselves because it's more manageable, I'd say. I don't have to think about anything, and we can do it. And we still got a great PR guy and everything. So from that point of view, getting it into HMV and those places was at the top of the list. Not in this climate, for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you've got your tour coming up. When's that due to start?
The day the album comes out, which at this point
24th.
We're set to do that at Bannerman's in Edinburgh.
Right.
But I can't say anything about it because I don't want to. I mean, so many bands have announced dates.
And then rescheduled.
And then had to move them again, and I'm not going to do that. But we've got, so they were due to go from September through to December. I think they'll be all right, personally, but that's maybe wishful thinking.
Hopefully it'll be. Also, will you be touring with Jizzy Pearl again this year?
Yeah, well, we've got the Blackout in the Red Room anniversary booked. Which,
I think if anyone knows any Jizzy Pearl love-hate songs, that's the one they're going to know.
They do, but weirdly, I mean, the fans are diehard. I mean, if I think about what I would call success, I mean, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of that album, and we still play to sold-out crowds up and down this country all this time on. I mean, that's a hell of an accolade for him to have. I mean, you got LA Guns still do it, and based on that, the fans are diehard. I mean, they know everything. And when I joined, I was like, oh, it's Blackout in the Red Room. That's 4 chords. But actually, if you go deeper than that, I generally, it's the hardest music I've ever had to learn in my life, just because of the musicianship of it. If you listen to songs like Happy Hour or Tranquil Spit, they're fucking impossible, nigh on impossible to play. So you have to do an amalgamation. Anyway, we've got this tour from the last week of August till the second week of September, and we're kind of going, well, we have dates on hold for February, just because his thinking is much the same as mine to a degree, that if actually in the next month the government goes, fuck it, whatever, and venues go, right, we're just going to open if they can, then we'll be in a good spot. But you know, you've got Hard Rock Hell to factor into it. We're playing there, and it's can he get in the country and not have to quarantine for 2 weeks and then miss half a tour? It might be safer to do it later on, but if we can do it, we will, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing you either on one or both of your tours. I hope everything goes to schedule as planned. And I look forward to finding out what your new album's going to be called. Because you promised me a good name, so... now.
All you got to think about is baseball.
Which I know absolutely nothing about.
Nor do I.
It's not called bat, is it? Or it's the only thing I can think of to do with baseball.
Yeah, batter up. That's what I said.
Anyway, all the best with the new album. Look forward to hearing a lot more from you. And take care. Good luck with it all.
Thanks for having me.
Great speaking to you.
All right. Take it steady. Stay safe.
This is rock and roll.